Welcome back, viewers. Today we delve into the chilling tale of Javaid Iqbal, one of Pakistan's most notorious serial killers. Born in Lahore in 1956, Iqbal's name would become synonymous with terror as he embarked on a spree of gruesome murders that shocked the nation and the world. Javaid Iqbal's early life was marked by hardship and despair. Born into a troubled household in Lahore, Pakistan, he experienced the devastating effects of abuse and neglect from a young age. Growing up in an environment common with disturbance, Javaid found himself surrounded by chaos and disorder. His home, lacking of love and stability, became a breeding ground for darkness, nurturing the seeds of bitterness and anger within him. As a child, Javaid endured the brunt of his parents' neglect, left to protect for himself in a world lacking of warmth and compassion. The scars of his troubled upbringing ran deep, shaping the shape of his sensitive psyche and sowing the seeds of his eventual descent into madness. Surrounded by poverty and despair, Javaid's troubled upbringing laid the foundation for the dark and twisted path that lay ahead. His early experiences of abuse and neglect would come to define him, moulding him into the monster he would later become. Little did anyone know the seeds of darkness planted in Javaid's early years would blossom into a nightmare of unimaginable proportions, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Between 1999 and 2000, Javaid Iqbal embarked on a chilling session of violence that would terrorize the streets of Lahore. His targets? Vulnerable young boys from poor backgrounds, attracted by the false promise of employment and opportunity. With cunning and deception, Iqbal attracted his victims into his grip, hunting on their desperation and innocence. But what followed was a descent into hell, as these innocent souls were subjected to unspeakable horrors at the hands of their harasser. Drugged and helpless, the boys fell victim to Iqbal's sadistic desires as he subjected them to unimaginable torture and abuse. Their screams echoed in the darkness, but their pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears as Iqbal revelled in his reign of terror. Torture and murder became the hallmarks of Iqbal's twisted obsession as he left a trail of carnage in his wake. Each victim, a tragic reminder of the depravity that hid within the human soul. As the body count rose, fear gripped the hearts of Lahore's residents as they grappled with the terrifying reality of a predator in their midst. But for Iqbal, the thrill of the hunt only fueled his insatiable appetite for destruction. In the darkness of night, he stalked his game with impunity, a shadowy figure stalking in the shadows, waiting to strike again. What drove Javaid Iqbal to commit such unspeakable acts of horror? His motive was rooted in a sickening desire for power and control, a twisted obsession that consumed his very being. Iqbal derived pleasure from inflicting pain and suffering upon his victims, viewing them not as human beings, but as mere objects for his twisted gratification. Their cries of agony fueled his limitless hunger for dominance as he revelled in the misery he inflicted upon their helpless souls. But Iqbal's vice knew no bounds. Not content with merely committing monstrous acts, he took perverse pleasure in documenting his crimes through chilling photographs and letters, relishing in the terror he introduced in the hearts of his victims and their loved ones. These haunting mementos served as trophies of his reign of terror, a testament to the depths of his vice and the darkness that consumed his soul. For Javaid Iqbal, the thrill of dominion and control was an addiction that knew no bounds, a twisted obsession that ultimately led to his downfall. In a rare turn of events, the reign of terror managed by Javaid Iqbal came to a screeching halt when he was arrested and brought to trial in 2000. His heinous crimes had sent shockwaves through Lahore and beyond, lighting widespread outrage and condemnation. The trial of Javaid Iqbal captured the attention of the nation as the full extent of his atrocities was laid bare for all to see. The courtroom buzzed with tension as prosecutors presented damning evidence against the accused, leaving no doubt as to his guilt. But Javaid Iqbal, ever the master manipulator, sought to exploit every loophole and technicality in a desperate bid to evade justice. His antics only served to fuel public outrage as he attempted to play the system for his own twisted ends. However, justice would not be denied. In a landmark verdict, Javaid Iqbal was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death for the murder of 100 innocent boys. It was a moment of triumph for the victims and their families, as they finally saw the monster who had terrorized their lives brought to justice. For the families of the victims, the verdict brought a sense of closure and relief after years of agony and heartache. While nothing could ever fully heal the wounds left by Javaid Iqbal's reign of terror, the verdict offered a glimmer of hope and a step towards healing. Just when it seemed that justice would finally be served, the case of Javaid Iqbal took a shocking turn. In 2001, while in police custody awaiting execution, he committed a final act of cowardice that would leave the nation reeling.